Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Premier BPO's LinkedIn recorded video series. I am with Asakib, your host today, and today we are going to dive into our chapter 3, Overcoming the Gotchas, Tips and Strategies for Successful Outsourcing. It is a pleasure again to have Mr. Dave Shapiro, COO of Premier BPO, join us. Hello and welcome back, Dave.
Rita, it's great to be with you again in our continuing series. These are fun conversations, and I look forward to sharing a little bit more.
Absolutely. And it's always fun to look forward to learn something new from you. So, Dave, as a business, when you're exploring outsourcing, they often encounter unexpected challenges. So, could you elaborate a little on how to tackle these gotchas and ensure a seamless experience?
So the first thing that I'd emphasize, Rita, is communication. Communication with your partner. If you just throw the work over the fence and look at somebody else to do it, that's going to be the biggest gotcha that there is. And the communication starts from the very beginning. It's paramount in terms of how the account management is done in the business development process, in the implementation process. So paramount to the any good relationship is communication.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's delve into some actionable advice. So, Dave, what pointers could you share with our viewers to ensure a successful outsourcing journey?
So the thing is, the communication and the collaboration has to be ongoing. You want to treat your partner as part of your integral to part of your team. So you don't want to treat them as a vendor. You want to treat them as a partner. You want to have them in part of your internal strategy meetings. You want them part of your tactical meetings. You want to expect the partner to be transparent with you and do regular updates through WBRs, weekly business reviews, MBRs, monthly business reviews, QBRs, quarterly business reviews, and you want the communication to be constant, and you want to foster a feeling of trust that you know the vendor is communicating you when things go wrong, because someday they will, and when there's ideas for things to go right. You want it to the granular, the communication to be very granular when it all process possible, and you also want to work with your partner to make sure that your processes are mapped. A lot of times people make the mistake that they know everything in their head when they're doing it in house, and they don't realize that the partner
Mhm.
hasn't been doing it for years and years. So the processes aren't mapped and documented. You want to make sure you go through a process mapping exercise with your partner, and you want to make sure that you've got good corporate governance. You want to make sure that there's executive level interaction, not just an account manager, not just your operational team, but is there executive level management to that's going to be a key stakeholder in case there's something goes wrong someday, or vice versa. There needs to be strategic ideas.
That's really valuable advice. And speaking of governance, how important is governance in the implementation process?
Reddit is so key. Many companies make the mistake. They just, throw the work over the wall, and they have an account manager at the partner start to implement. We do things differently. We actually have a specific implementation team separate from the account management that makes sure that everything is lined up in a PMP manner, so that it's very thorough. We look at training materials, we look at QA materials, we look at IT setup, all done before implementation timelines or even start. And then there's daily tracking meetings to make sure that everything that's contingent upon itself goes together. So implementation is very, very key, and governance is key to good implementation.
Sounds great. So let's touch a little on assessing the impact of outsourcing. What metrics should a business use to measure the success of their outsourcing or their return on investment?
So anything that you would do internally, you would want to do with your outsourcer, or co-sourcer, as we prefer. And so that would mean what kind of quality metrics there are, what kind of productivity metrics there are, what type of CSAT the client's customer is receiving. And so you want to make sure that your partner is measuring itself on outcomes that matter to you. And it's not necessarily what matters to them. So if your CSAT or your NPS is on how you score your business and how your customers view you, well, then you should be looking at your co-sourcer in that same way.
Okay. So, Dave, I'm going to close with this last question. What, in your experience, has been the biggest gotcha that you've seen that clients are going to face? And sometimes, you want to tell them, but maybe they don't take on the advice, but you think that this is something that's very important and it's underrated.
So very, very great question, Rita. And I hate to sound redundant with my answer, but the value of a proactive account management team is so, so important. Here's what I see that many, many clients make a mistake on. They go through a very thorough RFP process and they look at operations and they look at IT and they look at quality and they look at training. And usually they do not consider account management in the RFP process. However, when a relationship fails between a client and a co-source partner, it's usually none of those things. It's not the operations, it's not the IT, it's not quality and training. It's usually a poor account management that makes somebody look for a new partner. So the crazy thing is, clients make the mistake of they put very little effort into considering account management when they choose a partner, but usually that's the reason they leave a partner. So it's that important in my mind.
These were very insightful points, Dave. Thank you for sharing your expertise on navigating outsourcing challenges and achieving success. To our viewers, please stay tuned for chapter 4. Follow our social channels to find out more about what we're going to do next. Thank you for joining us, Dave. Pleasure to have you every time.
Rita, thank you. It's been a pleasure as always, and look forward to our next session.
Absolutely. Thank you.